I thought Amanda and I had the perfect marriage. 7 years together, a beautiful home in Portland, and plans to start a family next spring. Then one ordinary Tuesday evening, she set her dinner fork down, looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Blaze, I need a break. I am just not in love with you anymore." My world shattered in 10 words. What I discovered next changed everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and self-worth. Before I continue my story, drop a comment letting me know where you are watching from, and subscribe to hear how I turned this betrayal into my redemption. Amanda and I met at my college friend Jordan's backyard barbecue 6 years ago. I still remember the moment she walked through the gate, wearing a yellow sundress, laughing at something Jordan's wife had said. Our eyes locked across the yard, and I felt something I had never experienced before. It was not just attraction. It was recognition. I made my way over to her, nearly tripping over a cooler in my eagerness. She found it endearing rather than awkward, which told me everything I needed to know about her character. We talked for hours that evening, long after most guests had left. Jordan later told me he had never seen two people connect so instantly. Our courtship was a whirlwind. Within 2 months, we were practically living together. By our 1-year anniversary, I had proposed at the same spot where we first met, with Jordan and his wife helping me set up hundreds of string lights in their backyard. Amanda cried when she saw the setup, and her yes came through tears of joy. We married 14 months later at her parents' gorgeous lakeside property in upstate New York. 200 guests, perfect weather, and Amanda looking absolutely breathtaking in her custom gown. Her father gave a toast that made everyone cry, talking about how he had never seen his daughter so happy and how he was proud to welcome me into their family. After the honeymoon in Greece, we settled into our new life together in Portland. I had a promising career in software development, creating systems for healthcare providers, while Amanda thrived in her marketing role at a prestigious firm downtown. We purchased a craftsman-style home in an upscale neighborhood, spending weekends fixing it up just the way we wanted. We had a 5-year plan: establish our careers, renovate our home, travel to 10 countries, and then start a family. Everything was proceeding exactly according to that plan. For 7 years, I believed we had something special, something unbreakable. We rarely argued, enjoyed the same activities, and had built a strong circle of friends. We hosted legendary dinner parties where Amanda would showcase her culinary talents while I mixed specialty cocktails for our guests. Our Christmas card last year showed us smiling in matching sweaters with our golden retriever Cooper, the perfect couple our friends always called us. I first noticed something was off about 3 months ago. Amanda started coming home later from work, citing a big new client her firm had landed. I supported her completely, making sure dinner was ready when she got home, often past 9 in the evening. I wanted to be the husband who understood career ambition and did not make her feel guilty for her success. Then came the fitness obsession. Amanda had always been health conscious, but suddenly she was waking up at 5 every morning to hit the gym before work. She completely overhauled her wardrobe, buying clothes that were sleeker, more expensive, and frankly more revealing than her usual style. When I complimented her, she seemed almost annoyed by my attention. Our physical intimacy began to wane. First, it was subtle excuses about being tired or stressed. Then it became weeks without any physical affection at all. When I tried to kiss her goodbye in the morning, she would turn so my lips landed on her cheek instead. Each rejection felt like a small paper cut to my heart, not devastating on its own, but painful as they accumulated. I noticed her constantly texting and taking calls in another room. She had new friends from work that I had never met, despite my expressed interest in getting to know them. Several times I heard her laughing on the phone in our home office, only to have her voice drop to a whisper when I walked by. Like a fool, I rationalized everything. The late nights were professional dedication. The fitness kick was a positive lifestyle change. The emotional distance was just work stress. I tried everything to reconnect with her, planning surprise date nights, leaving love notes in her purse, even booking a weekend getaway to the coast where we had spent our first anniversary. She agreed to go, but spent most of the trip on her phone claiming a work emergency. I remember that Tuesday evening with painful clarity. I had made her favorite meal, herb-crusted salmon, with roasted vegetables, and that fancy quinoa dish she loved. I had picked up a bottle of the Pinot Noir we had discovered on our trip to Willamette Valley last year. I was trying so hard to create a perfect evening to reconnect with my wife. We ate in near silence, the kind that feels heavy, with unspoken words. Then she put down her fork, took a sip of wine, and delivered the words that would change my life forever. Blaze, I need a break. I am just not in love with you anymore. The salmon turned to ash in my mouth. My ears started ringing. I must have looked like I had been physically struck, because she reached out as if to touch my arm, then pulled back. What do you mean a break? I finally managed to ask, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. I just need some space to figure out what I want, she said, her voice clinical and detached. I think we should separate for a while. 3 months, maybe. I need to find myself again. Find yourself? I repeated stupidly. Amanda, if something is wrong, we can work on it together. We can go to counseling, take a vacation, whatever you need. She shook her head. I've been thinking about this for a long time, Blaze. This is not a spur-of-the-moment decision. I just do not feel the same way anymore. People change. Feelings change. I asked the question. I was terrified to hear the answer to, is there someone else? No, she said too quickly, not meeting my eyes. This is about me, not you. I just need space. That night I slept in the guest room. Or rather, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship, searching for the signs I must have missed. By morning, my eyes were swollen from crying, and I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped out everything that made me who I was. The week that followed was a blur of pain and confusion. Amanda acted like we were business partners, dissolving a contract rather than husband and wife. She outlined her plan. She would stay with a friend for 3 months, while we had minimal contact, to gain perspective. She already had a suitcase packed, which told me everything about how long she had been planning this. I begged her to reconsider, to at least try counseling before making such a drastic decision. She agreed, but on the day of our appointment, she texted saying she could not make it due to a client emergency. The therapist looked at me with pity as I sat alone in her office, trying not to fall apart. Our friends reacted strangely when I reached out for support. Thomas, who had been my best man, became awkward on the phone and made excuses to get off quickly. Sarah, who had been in our wedding party, told me these things happen and suggested I give Amanda the space she needs. Something in her tone made me feel like I was missing crucial information. 5 days after Amanda moved out, I was fixing her laptop that she had left behind. She had complained about it running slowly before she left, and in my desperation to do something, anything that might help save our marriage, I offered to take a look. As I was clearing out temporary files and checking for malware, a text notification popped up on the screen. Missing you already. Last night was amazing. Call me when you can talk privately. The message was from someone named Jason. I had never heard Amanda mention anyone named Jason before. My hands shaking, I clicked on the notification, telling myself, there must be an innocent explanation. There was not. The text thread with Jason went back 6 months. 6 months of intimate messages, explicit photos, plans for secret meetings, and discussions about their future together. Jason, I discovered, was her new boss, who had transferred from the company's Seattle office half a year ago. Feeling sick to my stomach, but unable to stop, I searched her email. There were hotel receipts for midweek conferences that I now realized were rendezvous with Jason. Credit card statements showed expensive gifts purchased for him. Photographs I wish I could unsee. When Amanda came by to pick up more clothes that weekend, I confronted her with what I had found. I expected shame, perhaps even remorse. Instead, I got anger. You had no right to go through my personal messages. she shouted, her face flushed with indignation. "And you had no right to betray our marriage." I responded, my voice breaking. 6 months, Amanda. 6 months of lying to my face every day. Her expression hardened. "This would not have happened if you had been meeting my needs. Do you have any idea how emotionally neglected I have felt? Jason listens to me. He understands me. He supports my ambitions. I have always supported you," I said, bewildered by this rewriting of our history. "No, you supported the version of me that fit into your perfect little life plan," she spat. "I have changed, Blaze. I have outgrown you. And yes, I love Jason. I have been planning to leave for months, but I wanted to do it gently. Now you have forced my hand." Each word felt like a knife to my chest. This woman standing before me, cold and cruel, was unrecognizable from the person I had built my life with. I asked her to leave, and as soon as the door closed behind her, I collapsed on our kitchen floor, sobbing like I had never cried before. The next blow came when I checked our joint accounts. Over the past 3 months, Amanda had been steadily moving money out in small increments. Not enough to trigger my immediate notice, but substantial in total. Nearly $40,000 was gone. I discovered she had been systematically turning our friends against me. Text messages from mutual friends revealed she had been telling them I was controlling and emotionally abusive, that I had trapped her in an unhappy marriage. Some believed her entirely. Others seemed unsure but unwilling to take sides. The final humiliation came when I learned she had consulted a divorce attorney 2 months ago. She had been planning her exit strategy while still sleeping beside me each night, while still accepting my love and care. The attorney had advised her on how to establish her independence, how to document fabricated grievances against me, how to position herself for the best possible financial outcome. Her parents, who had welcomed me as a son, now treated me with cold formality. Her father, who had once taught me to fly fish and shared his prized bourbon collection with me, would not even take my calls. They fully believed whatever narrative Amanda had created about our marriage. I hit rock bottom 3 weeks after Amanda's announcement. I found myself sitting in my car in our garage engine, running, wondering if the pain would ever end. In that dark moment, my phone rang. It was my college roommate Patrick, calling out of the blue to check in. Something in my voice alarmed him, and he insisted on staying on the phone with me until I agreed to drive to his house 30 minutes away. That call likely saved my life. I spent 3 days on Patrick's couch, barely eating, barely speaking. On the 4th morning, my older brother Marcus showed up. Patrick had called him, concerned about my mental state. Marcus had flown in from Chicago without hesitation. Marcus has always been the straight shooter in our family. After listening to my story, he looked me directly in the eyes and said words I needed to hear. "Blaze, you have been played. This woman has systematically manipulated and deceived you, and now she is trying to destroy you financially and socially. It is time to stop being a victim and start protecting yourself." "What is the point?" I asked, staring vacantly at the wall. "She has already taken everything that matters." "No," he said firmly. "She has taken your trust and wounded your heart. But you still have your dignity, your future, and your power to determine what happens next. Right now, she is counting on you to stay broken while she executes her plan. Are you going to let her succeed?" Something in his words penetrated the fog of my despair. A spark of anger ignited deep in my chest, the first emotion besides pain that I had felt in weeks. Not a destructive rage, but a clarifying fire that burned away some of the confusion and hurt. "What do?" I asked, sitting up straighter. "You get your ducks in a row," Marcus said, "starting right now." That afternoon, Marcus helped me make 3 crucial appointments with a highly regarded divorce attorney, with a financial advisor, and with a therapist who specialized in betrayal trauma. The next morning, I met with the attorney, a sharp woman named Diana Winters, who listened to my story without judgment, but with growing strategic interest. "You have been put at a disadvantage," she said after I had shared everything, "but we can still protect you. The documentation of the affair and financial misconduct will be very helpful. From this moment forward, every action you take should be strategic, not emotional. With Diana's guidance, I began meticulously documenting everything. I gathered bank statements showing Amanda's systematic withdrawal of funds. I secured copies of all our financial records, property deeds, tax returns, and insurance policies. I changed my personal passwords and created a new email account for divorce-related communications. I opened my own bank account and transferred half of what remained in our joint accounts, which Diana assured me was legal and appropriate. I monitored the joint accounts daily to track any further withdrawals. I made copies of the evidence of Amanda's affair and stored them securely in multiple locations. Diana helped me understand Oregon's divorce laws and what I could reasonably expect in terms of asset division. She explained that while Oregon is an equitable distribution state, Amanda's affair and financial misconduct could potentially influence the court's decisions. The financial advisor helped me create a detailed inventory of our assets and liabilities and develop a post-divorce budget. He also advised me on how to protect my retirement accounts and investments, which Amanda had not yet accessed. The therapist, Dr. K, helped me process the trauma of Amanda's betrayal and gave me tools to manage the overwhelming emotions. She introduced me to support groups for people going through similar experiences, which helped me realize I was not alone in this painful journey. Throughout this process, I maintained a facade of being devastated and passive whenever I interacted with Amanda or our mutual friends. I did not want her to know. I was methodically preparing to protect myself. When she asked for more time to figure things out, I meekly agreed, which gave me the space I needed to implement my strategy. I installed security cameras in the common areas of our home, which Diana assured me was legal as a homeowner. This proved to be a crucial decision when 3 weeks later, the cameras captured Amanda bringing Jason into our home, into our bedroom. The footage was difficult to watch, but provided irrefutable evidence of her misconduct. I began carefully rebuilding my support network. I reached out individually to friends I suspected might have been told lies about me, not to accuse Amanda, but simply to maintain connection. Some were receptive. Others had clearly chosen sides. I focused my energy on those relationships that remained authentic and supportive. My brother introduced me to his friend Stephen, who had gone through a similar experience 2 years earlier. Stephen became a mentor and guide, helping me navigate the practical and emotional challenges ahead. He emphasized the importance of physical well-being during this time, and we began meeting regularly for early morning workouts that helped clear my mind and restore my strength. With my team of professional advisors and personal supporters in place, I was ready for the next phase, the confrontation. Diana helped me prepare for a meeting with Amanda and her attorney, where we would present our evidence and propose settlement terms. We scheduled it for exactly 2 months, after Amanda had asked for a break, which I now understood had simply been her attempt to execute her exit plan without consequences. The meeting took place in Diana's elegant conference room. Amanda arrived with her attorney, a slick-looking man in an expensive suit. She seemed surprised to see me composed and clear-eyed, having expected the broken shell of a man she had left behind. When Diana introduced herself as my counsel, I saw the first flicker of concern cross Amanda's face. Before we begin discussing separation terms, Diana said calmly, "Mr. Harrison has some information he would like to present." Diana opened a folder and began methodically presenting our evidence. The text messages documenting the 6-month affair, the hotel receipts, the unauthorized financial withdrawals, the consultation with a divorce attorney while still acting as a committed spouse, and finally the security camera footage of Amanda bringing her lover into our marital home. I watched the color drain from Amanda's face as the evidence mounted. Her attorney's confident demeanor faltered as he realized this would not be the straightforward, advantageous divorce he had anticipated. When the presentation concluded, a heavy silence filled the room. This meeting was supposed to be about separation terms. Amanda finally said, her voice lacking its usual confidence. "It is," Diana replied. but those terms will now be shaped by this evidence. Mr. Harrison is prepared to proceed with a divorce that recognizes the realities of your actions. Mrs. Harrison. Diana then presented our proposed settlement. I would retain the house and my retirement accounts intact. The remaining assets would be divided equitably, with Amanda returning the funds she had improperly withdrawn. We would sell the vacation property and split the proceeds. In exchange, I would not pursue litigation that would publicly air the details of her misconduct. This is outrageous. Amanda's attorney began, but I could see him glancing sideways at her, questioning if she had disclosed all this to him beforehand. It is actually quite reasonable considering the circumstances, Diana countered. Mr. Harrison could pursue a much more aggressive position, given the documented financial misconduct and infidelity. Amanda requested a private conversation with her attorney. When they returned, her demeanor had completely changed. Gone was the cold, calculating woman who had dismissed our marriage so casually. She looked shaken. I would like to speak with Blaze. Alone, she said quietly. Against Diana's advice, I agreed to 5 minutes in a separate conference room. Once alone, Amanda's composure crumbled entirely. I never meant to hurt you like this, she said, tears streaming down her face. Things with Jason just happened, and then they spiraled out of control. Things do not just happen, Amanda, I replied, my voice steady. You made choices. Every day for 6 months, you made choices to betray me. I know, she whispered. And seeing it all laid out like that, I realize how terrible it looks. How terrible it was. But a part of me still cares about you, Blaze. Maybe we could try again, go to counseling like you suggested before. I studied her face. The face I had loved for so long. The face I had trusted completely. I felt a surprising sense of calm as I realized her tears moved me, but did not control me anymore. No, Amanda. We cannot go back. I deserve better than what you have shown me. You are capable of giving. Her expression changed, then hardening back into the cold mask I had seen recently. Fine. If that is how you want to play this, we can do it the hard way. Actually, we cannot, I replied. You have already played your hand, and it is not as strong as you thought. The settlement offer is fair despite everything you have done. I suggest you take it. I stood and walked out of the room, feeling lighter than I had in months. In that moment, I had reclaimed my power and my self-respect. The divorce proceedings moved forward with surprising efficiency after that meeting. Amanda's attorney, now fully informed of the situation, advised her to accept our reasonable terms rather than risk a public and potentially costly court battle. 6 weeks later, our divorce was finalized and Amanda was officially out of my life. I sold our house, unable to live with the memories it contained, and found a modern apartment across town. I reconnected with friends who had been misled by Amanda's lies, some of whom apologized profusely for believing her without question. Others remained distant, and I learned to accept that not all relationships survive this kind of upheaval. I discovered through mutual friends that Amanda's relationship with Jason imploded barely a month after our divorce. Apparently, once the excitement of the forbidden affair faded and the realities of daily life set in, they found they were not as compatible as they had imagined. She reached out to me several times after their breakup, but I maintained firm boundaries. With my brother's encouragement, I applied for a promotion at work that would move me to our Seattle office. The change of scenery proved to be exactly what I needed to truly begin healing. I embraced the opportunity to reinvent myself in a new city, joining hiking groups, taking a photography class, and even trying rock climbing for the first time. 6 months into my new life in Seattle, I bumped into Julia, a woman I had known in college before I met Amanda. We had once been close friends, but had lost touch over the years. Our reconnection felt natural and uncomplicated. We began meeting for coffee regularly, then hiking on weekends. Unlike my relationship with Amanda, which had felt like a whirlwind from the start, my connection with Julia developed slowly and authentically, built on mutual respect and honest communication. I was upfront with Julia about my divorce and the trust issues I was still working through. Rather than being put off, she appreciated my honesty and shared some of her own relationship challenges. Her patience and understanding created a safe space for me to gradually open my heart again. 1 year after Amanda asked for a break, I received an email from her. She wrote that she had been in therapy and had come to recognize the harm she had caused. Her apology seemed sincere, acknowledging the pain she had inflicted, without making excuses or expecting forgiveness. She wished me well and hoped I was finding happiness. I sat with the email for several days before composing a brief civil response. I thanked her for the apology, wished her well on her journey of self-improvement, and closed that chapter of my life with a sense of peace rather than bitterness. I no longer needed her to suffer to feel validated in my own healing. My relationship with my family, especially Marcus, grew stronger through this ordeal. He had seen me at my lowest and helped me find the strength to rebuild. Our weekly calls became a cherished ritual, and his pride in how I had handled everything meant more to me than he would ever know. I found a community in Seattle that felt more authentic than the social circle Amanda and I had cultivated. These new friends knew me only as I was now, not as half of a couple or through the lens of my marriage. There was freedom in that, in being seen clearly for who I had become, rather than who I had been. The greatest transformation, though, was internal. I had learned to trust my instincts, to recognize red flags, and to value myself enough to establish healthy boundaries. I no longer feared being alone, more than I feared being with someone who did not truly value me. And perhaps most importantly, I had discovered that even the deepest wound could heal with time, proper care, and the courage to keep moving forward. As I sit here writing this, I realize that while I would never choose to go through such pain again, I am grateful for the wisdom and strength it ultimately gave me. Getting my ducks in a row was not about revenge. It was about reclaiming my power and protecting my future. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is refusing to remain a victim of someone else's choices. If you are going through something similar right now, know that the pain will not last forever. The darkness eventually gives way to light. Have you ever had to rebuild after betrayal? How did you find your way forward? Share your story in the comments below. Like this video if it resonated with you, and subscribe for more authentic conversations about life's challenges and our triumphs. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, sometimes what feels like an ending is actually the beginning of something better. You are stronger than you know.